Welcome to The Man Who Woke Up the Buddha. This is Season 3, Episode 7, Imagine. Previously, Sid ran roughshod over the Ten Commandments and eventually found himself in the midst of medieval crusaders on their way to conquer Jerusalem. What a great zendo, the Buddha thought to himself. Much better for relaxed meditation than the ones with hard pillows on hard floors and those altars with little statues of me. Indeed, the Buddha had never seen a meditation room like this. In fact, virtually no one had ever seen a meditation room like this, unless they had spent some quality time stilling their minds in a 1950s basement. It was paneled in knotty wood and covered wall to wall with burnt reddish carpeting that looked like it had been there as long as, well, it had. There was a drop ceiling with a light in the center that had a vintage globe, along with 3 brass wall lamps and a small, high casement window. There was also a TV, ping-pong table, a large square coffee table, and 2 couches, a green 2-seater and brown 3-seater that had survived 2 generations of improvised child rambunctiousness. Best of all, there was a Barca-lounger. The Buddha had never seen a Barca-lounger. The fact that you could tilt back and put your feet up, instead of trying to cross your legs, not easy when you're 2,500 years old, was a definite plus. And fortunately, there were no candles or incense, because on top of the Barca-lounger was one of the Buddha's favorite former selves, Pāli, the brave little parrot. At the sound of someone coming down the stairs, Pāli flew across the room to the little feeding station that Junior and his girlfriend Cindy had attached to one of the knotty pine walls, along with a curled boing rope that hung down from the drop ceiling and various perches, including a freestanding feeding and play station on rollers. "The Buddha!" Pāli cried, seeing his fellow Buddha incarnate coming down the stairs and settling himself in the Barca-lounger. And just in time, because Sid's students, aka grandchildren, were starting to arrive for the first evening meditation in this recently sanctified space. Each came in slowly and respectfully, more to avoid upsetting Pāli than to show respect to their newly self-proclaimed Buddha, also known as Big Sid. Casper tiptoed down first, carrying a little spiral notebook covered with stickers that had the logos of every sports team in Boston. "Hi, Pāli," he whispered, still following the dictum not to make any sudden sounds or movements. "Cass!" Pāli cried back, proud of having learned the first syllable of the little boy's name. Next came Zoe, also carrying a spiral notebook with stickers, which included the double helix, geometric patterns, fossils, and gold stars. "Hi, Pāli," Zoe said softly but firmly. "I hope you like your new rec room." "Zzz!" Pāli hissed back with delight. Then Junior, who had already completely accepted Pāli as another cousin, just one easier to get along with than the others. "Hey, Paul, old buddy," he said. Junior's notebook featured stickers of fast cars, snowboards, and icons that nobody under 14 or over 16 understood. "Shoo!" Pāli said, as if about to give him a high five. A few minutes later, Courtney came down, a little breathless. "I'm Courtney." They hadn't met yet, so she emphasized the "k" sound, to which Pāli responded with a suspicious "ka-ka." Behind Courtney, her roommate and self-proclaimed identical twin sister tiptoed down like she was sneaking down to the grown-ups' liquor cabinet. Sister didn't have her notebook because she had forgotten it back in the car. "Sister!" Pāli called with unrestrained joy. "Pāli!" Sister called back. "Sister!" The other kids all looked at her. "Sister?" Junior asked. "Pāli's never seen you before. How does he know your name?" Sister blushed a little. Courtney had never seen Sister blush. "Sister?" she asked. "Sister?" Sid asked. "Sister?" the Buddha wondered. "Well," Sister said, shuffling her feet, "I'm a parrot whisperer." "Did you ever have a parrot?" Zoe asked seriously. Even she recognized that Sister was a puzzle that it might not be possible to solve this lifetime. "Oh no, I've barely even seen a parrot." "Then how did you become a parrot whisperer?" Zoe asked, uncomfortably baffled. "I've been wondering that myself," Sister answered, furrowing her brow as if trying to remember. "Sister!" Pāli called out again, in a slightly more demanding tone. Sister looked at Sid. Mr. Sid, Pāli wants to know where he should pee and poop." Sid looked at Sister, looked at Pāli, and shook his head in disbelief. "Parrots pee and poop at the same time," Zoe explained, trying to regain the omniscient high ground. Since Junior was the general contractor for the project, he answered, "Paul, your bathroom is on that freestanding perch with the plastic mat below. Don't worry, we'll clean up after you. We figured you'd just rip up toilet paper anyway." Sister translated by making some throaty noises that sounded like Pāli's name coming up from a waterfall deep within a cavern. Pāli flew over to the perch, lifted his butt, and discreetly let out a little plop. Meanwhile, the kids were all getting settled on the 2 couches that Junior had moved close to the coffee table in front of the Barcalounger. It had chocolate milk, an assortment of sodas, and a plate with some of the strangest dessert-like things that the kids had ever seen. "Wait a second," Casper called. "Where's Willie?" Everyone looked around. They were used to their cousin kind of hiding in the background, but this time he wasn't there at all. "Courtney, see if Willie is up there?" Sid asked. She came back and reported, "He's talking to Grandma. He said that he didn't do the homework, so he didn't think he should come down." Sid laughed. "Life is homework," the Buddha smiled, "and almost everyone gets an A, at least for effort." "Tell him the Buddha is all-forgiving," Sid said. Courtney went back up and returned a few moments later, followed by Willie, who turned his head trying to hide behind his long hair. "Come here, Willie," Courtney said, indicating he should sit between her and Sister. "Okay, I call this meditation to order," Sid said. "It's December 8th, which is a very special day. Does anyone know why?" "Yes," Zoe said. "I did some research and found out." "Get to the point," Junior said. "It's Bodhi Day," she said. "Like his birthday?" Casper asked. "No," Zoe said seriously. "It commemorates the day of his enlightenment." "How do they know?" Junior asked skeptically. "Good question, Junior," she continued, like the college professor she should have been already. "It's kind of symbolic. Like St. Valentine wasn't really born on February 14th. Many years, neither Washington nor Lincoln were born on President's Day. Jesus probably wasn't born on Christmas either." "Okay, Zoe, thanks for enlightening us, as always," Sid laughed kindly, in case she was about to continue. The Buddha thought it was kind of funny. He could never remember when his birthday was either. "That's why," Sid said, looking at the kids one by one, "I sent you each a notebook with the suggestion that you write in it one really good deed, something kind or generous you did today. It's one way of honoring the Buddha on his Enlightenment Day." "I think it's a great one. The good old golden rule," the Buddha agreed. "So, Casper, what did you do?" Casper looked around to see if anyone else would offer to go first, before opening his notebook to a page that no one but him could have deciphered. "Well, there was a new kid at school today," he read. "She was from Mexico. She doesn't talk English very well, so I offered to help her." "Excellent," Sid said. I could help her with Sanskrit," the Buddha thought, although I'm a little rusty. "Was she cute, Casper?" Junior laughed. "Moving right along," Sid said. "Zoe?" "I put the books in the 600s back in their correct Dewey Decimal places at the library. A lot of the cooking and gardening books were way out of order." "Of course you did," Junior said. "Too bad she didn't do the 200s, where all the books are about things I never said," the Buddha smiled. "Is that your volunteer job?" Courtney asked. "Well, I'd never done it before, so I just walked by the new lady at the desk, waved, and acted like I did it all the time." "You see my friend Johnny D?" Sid asked. "He found me up there later and said he was glad to have me on staff." "Okay," Sid said before she could talk about the wage scale for library workers 12 and under. "Junior? Well, there's a kid on the basketball team who really sucks, so I took him out before practice and did some drills. He still really sucks, but I'll give it another try." "Excellent. Courtney?" "I cleaned up the common room in the dorm. Kids always leave it a mess." Sid nodded approvingly. "And Sister?" "I played the trumpet while she cleaned up," Sister said proudly. "I didn't know you played the trumpet," Sid said. Neither did I, Sista agreed. Where did you get the trumpet? Sid asked, realizing he was about to get another glimpse into Sista's life of magical realism. I was wondering that myself, Sista said, sounding quizzical. Then why did you play it? Zoe asked, desperately hoping there was a rational explanation. Well, I figured if I played it really loud, it would make such a racket that a lot of the other kids would come help Courtney just to get me to stop. Did it work? Sure did, Courtney said proudly. Most walked in wearing headphones or with their fingers in their ears. We had the room cleaned up in no time. She is truly a genius, the Buddha thought, and not for the first time. The room got quiet as the kids waited to see what Willie would say. Now, Willie, Courtney finally said, I bet you did something good or generous or kind. Not really. Did you sing a song? Sister asked. Sometimes I just sing a song. Well, just during a play rehearsal in the chorus with the other kids. What did you sing? That imagined song the Beetle guy wrote, he shrugged. The Buddha smiled. Sid smiled. Could you sing it to us? Willie looked around at his cousins embarrassed, but they were all laughing and encouraging. Come on, Willie. Come on, Pāli encouraged. Okay. He took out a piece of paper that was inside his notebook and slowly started singing. His cousins hummed and laughed along at first, but then something happened. Willie's voice went somewhere else. It was like the time with Pizarro, when Sid said not to act like Pizarro, but to be Pizarro. So he closed his eyes and imagined he was the Beetle guy. His voice changed, and everyone got very still. The Buddha closed his eyes and smiled. Sid closed his eyes and smiled. Willie's voice got fuller, clearer, more real. At the end, everyone clapped, and Sid asked, Do you get a solo? Willie shrugged. I do the you, he said, looking at the lyrics. But it's not just you, Sid laughed encouragingly. It's you-hoo. The lyrics just say you, Willie shrugged. Repeat after me, Sid said enthusiastically. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You-hoo. You-hoo, Willie imitated attentively, holding the last note. Yoo-hoo, 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 all the kids joined in. Yoo-hoo, the Buddha sang to himself. Yoo-hoo, Pāli sang along, with a little click and whistle of approval, before singing it again, yoo-hoo, getting soft at the end, as if hearing a faraway sound. Then the others heard it. Another voice, quiet but clear, floating in across time and space. You-hoo, you-hoo, you can say I'm free, but not the only one. You-hoo. Sid smiled curiously. The Buddha nodded. It was good to hear him sing again. Bodhi Day is a celebration of the Buddha's enlightenment on December 8th, around 2500 BC. John Lennon was killed on December 8th, 1980, almost 5,000 years later, to the day.